Good morning, everybody. It is Sunday, April 28th, 2019. I am Teri Hunter. Welcome back. I am an angel therapy practitioner, Reiki master, intuitive guide, and empowerment coach. And I'm here every week on Lada Duncheva's channel at 11 a.m. on Sunday mornings to give angel readings by astrological rising sign. So that's what we're going to do today. I want to just excuse me for 1 second while I grab the jar. For those of you that have been watching me, we did not have a winner this week. The number was 338. Let me grab it. Okay. So sad but true. Nobody won. And the number was, well, there we go, 338. And for those of you that are new to my channel, I want to let you know we play a weekly game where you can win a half-hour free reading from me. You pick a number between 1 and 500. And if you're the first person to pick that number, you'll win the free reading. And you have 1 week to claim your reading because I can't keep track of them all. So we are going to pick a new number and we're going to put it in the little envelope. And hopefully next week somebody will win. Yay! I hope everybody had a good Easter last week. I think I'm dropping stuff. Welcome, welcome. So I'm just going to, first I'm going to say, you guys, I don't know if you're aware, but Saturn is going retrograde tomorrow. Hi, Pauline, until September. So basically Saturn's going to be asking us if we did our homework the first time around. Did we do things thoroughly? Did we dot our I's and cross our T's? And were we consistent? Because if we were cutting corners, Saturn is going to say, well, you're going to have to go do that again, and you're going to have to do it better. So I hope everybody's prepared, because I want to say this too. When you play by Saturn's rules, Saturn is a very rewarding planet because they're long-term rewards. They're rewards that stick. So I'm excited about that. I try to focus. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Amber, Tamra. Love will win. Super affiliate review insights. Dimitri, yay. Holly, welcome. I'm so glad you're all here. Oops. Okay, so let's jump into Aries Rising. Okay. Hey, small wildflowers. Good morning. Good morning, Haley Smith. Okay, here we go. What is up this week for Aries Rising? Starting from the beginning, everybody. All right, here we go. Good morning, Orphan. All right, for my Aries Rising, the first angel is Fiona. The second is Archangel Gabriel. The third is Layla. And the final is Athena. All right. Now, I was thinking about this. The Pluto K2 Saturn reading is no longer listed on Lada's channel, but it's still available. I want you all to know, because with this Saturn retrograde, and I don't know, I think Pluto's gone retrograde as well. So I feel like these energies are hovering around, and there's this dynamic right now where Pluto's really bubbling up whatever imbalance there is, whatever is really disrupting your happiness. And the more we're willing to look at that, the more Saturn and Pluto can actually give us the reward sides of those planets versus just the challenging sides of them. Because both, once transformed, offer very long-term benefits. Pluto transformed is no longer shocked by the craziness of the world, the criminal, the obsessive, the compulsive, the jealous, the raging. It transforms it into understanding where that comes from. And so in understanding that, by kind of grasping onto these planetary activities, instead of being scared of them, more willing to be, okay, what didn't I look at that I'm more willing to look at now? Because once I clear that out, then I have a better footing to stand on. That's kind of what I want to say about that planetary activity. So if anybody's interested in getting that reading, just request it, okay? All right, so here we go for Aries Rising, joining Fiona, is the letting go card. Joining Archangel Gabriel is the Goblin. Joining Layla is the Wind Fairy. And joining Athena is the Perception card. Okay, so this feels very interesting to me. So I'm going to start off in our foundational position. Fiona talks about, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving their guidance. And then I have the letting go card. Now, this card for me is is not about letting anything go, because for me, it just doesn't work. Once something has happened to me, I have to make sense of it. I can't just pretend, especially if it bothered me or if it hurt my feelings. I just can't blow it off and say it didn't happen. So this card turned into that song, Let It Go from Frozen. And if you really listen to the words, it talks about how the distance from fear gives us the opportunity to feel empowered. So I feel like as I turn over whatever I can't see that I may have trepidation about or concern about to Spirit, and then asking them to give me the eyes to see the wisdom of it. Because in my opportunity or my obstacle, I have Archangel Gabriel, which is a card of communication. She talks about communication, having a divine life's purpose in arts and the communications. And then I have the Goblin. Now, this is the wounded human ego represented here, but I don't think so. I think that the ego may be getting up Aries Rising's little grill and saying, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure you can have whatever you want? Sort of exasperating those fears. We talked about Saturn going retrograde tomorrow. Saturn represents fears. So a lot of stuff could be bubbling up because I feel like Aries is in their head. This is the angel's advice position. We have the Wind Fairy. She talks about intellectual analysis, thoughts, and words. But for me, especially here with Layla, I'm too much in my head as an Aries rising, and I got to go out into nature and allow myself to decompress, almost just allow myself to I talk about nature a lot and using nature as a way for God and the angels to communicate with us, to give us signs and omens. And I always think that when I see something 3 times, I need to pay attention to it a little bit more and look a little deeper than just what the superficial meaning is. Because when we see a butterfly, we always think that immediately transformation. But what we don't think about is the fact that the butterfly had to be a caterpillar that went into the cocoon and thought it was dying as a result of that transformational period. So that's where I feel like Spirit is offering Aries rising a time to go out into nature and to help appease those thoughts if they're swimming around and driving you a little nutty. Because this is the great part about the final position. Aries rising, Athena says it's safe for you to lovingly assert yourself towards the things that you want. And here is the perception card. The first and the fourth position are more in the material world for me, whereas the second position and the third position are more advisory. So by allowing, okay, we're going to just stop for a second here, guys. I want to say this because I'm going to lovingly assert myself into your perceptions about these cards right now. I'm kind of like, I don't attach them to Doreen Virtue. She means nothing, people. This is God and the angels talking to you, not Doreen Virtue. So if you got issue with my cards, you can leave because this is not about her. I don't like her. I've never liked her, but these cards, they mean something. And there was a reason in that period of time that she channeled these cards. This is one of her first decks when she was most authentic. So I'm just going with that. If for some reason you don't like it, I'm not changing it. It's my deck. It's not Doreen's deck. So I'm lovingly asserting myself and letting you know that my perception is that these cards are valuable and then they are my connection to Spirit. Hold on, I just dropped a card. Oh, my old self. Okay, because this is the thing. This letting go card is about writing your own story. It's about saying to Spirit, it's funny how some distance makes everything look small, and the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. It's time to see what I can do to test the limits, to break through. No right, no wrong, no rules for me. I'm free. That's how I feel. I'm an Aries rising. I'm very ruled by Mars, guys. I don't back down easily, but what I do try to do is use my Libra to see both sides of the story. So while, again, not a Doreen Virtue fan, and I wasn't a fan when she was the angel lady, I just didn't trust myself enough back then to believe I could do this without some sort of certification. So I spent a lot of money for nothing. Okay, we're going to go on to Taurus Rising. And I love y'all, so I'm glad you feel free to express your opinions. I just want you to know that I'll express mine back. Okay, Taurus Rising, here we go. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I'm so glad you were able to come today. Okay, so Taurus Rising, our first card angel is Merlina. The second is Desiree. The third is Omega. And the final is Akasha. Okay, and let's see what's joining. All right. Joining Merlina is the Trust card. Joining Desiree is the Mystery. Joining Omega is the Risk card. And joining Akasha is the Serpent. Oh, this is pretty cool. Now, a little bit challenging. Merlina talks about having, being confused and indecisive, not having enough information. And then we have the Trust card. This is interesting for me because the Trust card is a 47. The 47 reduces down to an 11. Whenever I see anything reduces down to an 11, I start to look at what are my thought processes? What am I thinking? Because when we're confused, indecisive, or when we just don't have any information. For instance, if we have done our half of whatever the project may be, the dynamic may be, and we're waiting for the other person, the other dynamic for it to come our way. If it takes a little bit longer than we had anticipated, we may get in our heads. And getting in our heads will make us feel confused. Are we not sure? Because I say that because Desiree is saying conditions are not favorable right now. And sometimes the answer that we would get immediately would be not as rooted in the real world, or not as influential or as impactful as it could be if there was just a little bit more time given, because I also have the Mystery card here. This is my opportunity or my obstacle. This is kind of where Desiree has given me an opportunity to say, well, are you going to, when you're waiting, are you going to choose to defer to the more scary side of the story, or are you going to defer to the side that you win? The trusting side. Because when we don't have information as humans, we really start to tell a story, and the story is usually not the good story. It's usually something that we're still back trying to get up that ladder. Because here in the angel's advice is the Risk card, which to me is always risking the bigger picture, the bigger story. And I always refer to this as Donald Trump, and I'm not doing it in a political way, but in the way when he campaigned for president, he believed well beyond anybody else in the beginning that he could be president. And he towed the line of that thought for 18 months. And there's Omega, the Victory card. So Taurus Rising, when you make a decision to really risk a bigger thought and say, you know what, just because I can't see the evidence of it, I'm gonna have to go to a deeper place in my heart and ask myself, is it a yes or is it a no? Because when you get there and you get that yes, but you don't see it, it can actually give you a much stronger foundation in the future to trust. Because I believe that this is an opportunity for you to learn something. This is Akasha, the spiritual teacher, and this is the serpent. The serpent is about knowledge and healing, but also shedding a skin. So what I'm looking at here is Saturn is going retrograde this week. So Saturn, in many ways, is the great principle in the sky. The great, did you do your homework? Really going to pull up look underneath every nook and cranny to see that you've done your work diligently and methodically and consistently. So this is where, as you trusted when you were indecisive, Taurus Rising, you actually have an opportunity to trust even deeper moving forward, because what you did was you risked a bigger idea of yourself that you couldn't see, and that's where victory came in. Whenever anybody endeavors something beyond what has been done, when you're breaking a box, when you're setting a precedent, there's always a huge road of unknowing, and that inner faith that reminds us that we have to we have to decide if we're brave enough to see it through and to risk losing. Because lots of times when we're willing to risk losing, we actually don't lose. It becomes this sort of counterintuitive energy that says, yes, I'm just going to keep going until there's absolute solid proof that I've lost. And you won't lose. That's what I think this is about. So I didn't mean to start any sort of political conversations using the risk card, mentioning our president. But I want to say this again. This is about risking a bigger idea of yourself. And that's what I experienced from Donald Trump as he was running for office. He risked a bigger idea of himself and he wouldn't get off it. His focus and his intention was so grand that he literally created that presidency for himself. And it blew my mind, to be honest with you. Okay, here we go. On to Gemini Rising. We're on planet Earth here. In the 3D world, I'm pretty sure it's this dimension, the Earth plane, full of contrast and wonderful opportunities for growth. Okay, here we go, Gemini Rising. I'm not saying good or bad about him either. I'm saying it was his own belief in himself, exactly. And the power of that belief sends a ripple effect out into the universe. It is simply the laws of attraction, but not just the law of attraction. He also implemented the law of allowing. He allowed himself to believe a bigger picture of himself that nobody else believed. Everybody laughed at him at first. And look what he did. Everybody's got their opinion. Bad example, good example. If you ask me, it's a pretty darn biggest example I've ever seen of somebody putting an intention out there and doing something nobody's ever done before. I never would have thought the Celebrity Apprentice would have been our president in a million years, and not let alone, yeah. Anyway, I'm not going there in politics. Let's go on to Gemini Rising. And remember, guys, we're playing the game. So if you want to, every week, numbers between 1 and 500, submit them in the live chat or in the comments, and you have an opportunity to win a free reading. Last week, we had a fun little Easter game, and we had Amber win that one, which was great. And this week, we're back to our number game, and I really would like somebody to win. Okay, here we go. First angel for Gemini Rising is Archangel Uriel. Our second angel is Oceana. Our third angel is Akasha. And our final angel is Caressa. Okay. Again, these are by rising sign, guys, by rising sign. So this is for Gemini Rising. Okay. Joining Archangel Uriel is the cat. Joining Oceana is the wealth card. Joining Akasha is the bear. And joining Caressa is the wind fairy. All right, Gemini Rising. Archangel Uriel talks about having, helping you deal with frustration, anger, unforgiveness, those challenging emotions that kind of get stuck in our heads when we're feeling unheard, invalidated, unseen somewhat. I have the cat joining Archangel Uriel, and it's interesting to me because the cat represents independence. It represents healthy boundaries, and I feel like I'm going to jump to the fourth position because I feel like for Gemini Rising, there may be somehow you may have been put in a position where healthy boundaries were thrust upon you rather than you choosing them. That's what this kind of feels like to me. And that there is a wisdom to that, because when I go to the final position, I have Caressa talking about being at the end of a life cycle and that new happiness awaits you. And then I have the wind fairy. Again, this is about being in my head. It's about intellectual thought, analysis, it's about the loop that gets branded on our brain when we're younger, and then we can tend to have a certain way of thinking about things. And I feel like when I'm looking at Gemini Rising right now, there is a challenge going on here, either that you are being thrust into a situation where you are being pushed into a certain amount of independence, or you are trying to assert yourself with some healthy boundaries, and it is causing some friction with other people in this way, or in other dynamics. Because in the opportunity of the obstacle, I have Oceana asking you to lovingly assert yourself, and then I have the wealth card. This is about harmonious wealth. This is about thriving in all the various facets of my body, my intimate body, my physical body, my financial body, my mental body, my emotional body, my spiritual body. And this is all as a result of taking that loving action towards yourself. And I feel like for Gemini rising, there's Akasha, our teacher card, and I'm getting chills all over the place. And then I have the Baird. The Baird is my history. There is something that you have to learn to remember about yourself as you lovingly assert yourself towards the things that you want, that will make the story that has come before make more sense. So there may be a closing of a chapter in some ways for Gemini rising, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like the ending of a relationship or the ending of a job. It could be the ending of a perspective where Gemini rising actually gives yourself bigger opportunities within an interior body. And I'm getting chills all over the place when I say this. So I think that's really what it's more about, is the interior, how you're thinking about things, giving yourself a bigger permissions. And if you are frustrated with something, or you feel like you are absolutely trying to assert your independence and your healthy boundaries with others, then knowing that at that point, if others don't understand, it's okay. Because that's where I really think Akasha and the history card comes in. Because sometimes people won't understand until they hear what they want to hear. And they hear you giving them their perspective or their version of you. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, let's go on to Cancer rising. I don't add the numbers back into the jar, and I don't keep track of them because as the weeks have gone on, it's too much for me to keep track. But if I do see a comment and the number's already been picked or out of range, I usually will let you know, and you have a whole week to put in another number. So if you come back and check. Okay. And small wildfires, feel free to kick somebody who's being rude out of the room, because if Tom from Chicago wants to be mean, he can, or she can leave. I'm not into it. This is the room of love and nice people, and we are nice people. I love this crowd. You guys coming every Sunday makes me feel, I look forward to seeing you all. Seeing your names, Orphan and Debbie Ruth, seeing you each week makes me feel like we're having a party. It's like Sunday brunch with you guys. The numbers are to win a free half-hour reading with me. You have 1 week to claim it. If you pick a number between 1 and 500, and it happens to be picked, and I announce it each week, and then you get a week to come and schedule your reading, and then we go from there. Okay, on to Cancer rising. Here we go. Our first angel is Patience. Our second angel is Crystal. Our third angel is Omega. And the final is Aurora. Ooh, that was fun. Okay. Yes, our little soul family. I love that, Dimitri. I love that. Exactly. Stephen will probably be back. It's a beautiful day out. He might be out enjoying his Sunday. Okay. Who is joining Patience for our Cancer rising? We have the Forgiveness card. Joining Crystal, we have the Spider. Joining Omega is the Swan. And joining Aurora is the Grail Knight. Oh, neat. Okay. For my Cancer rising. Patience is a card, not of sitting on an egg and waiting for something to happen, but more about assimilating the situation. It says, now is a time to learn, study, and gather information. Enjoy being a student because you will soon use that information and you will help others. And then I have the Forgiveness card. For me, forgiveness is never about forgiveness of other, like in the sense of, I forgive you. To me, it's always about I'm getting distracted in the chat. I'm going to ask the angels right now to be to be gatekeepers as well as small wildflowers, because as we said, Dimitri said, we're a soul family here. So if you have some nonsense, I'd like you to just kind of mosey on down the road. Thank you very much. Okay. Forgiveness is about reconciliation. It's about understanding a situation, being challenged by something, and then actually using that energy to work for you. And even if it's only as small as, oh, I've felt this type of energy before. Oh, this is the kind of person who they start off as a great friend. And then, all I know is whenever I call them, they don't call me back or they don't text me back. And then when they want something, they text me back. This is where the reconciliation comes in, because I don't necessarily want to be friends with somebody who treats me like that. And it's my job to patiently assess the dynamic and then decide whether or not it really works for me. Because Cancer rising, Cancer sun, Cancer moon, you're very, very loving by nature. You're very nurturing. You're very, you would think about the group versus yourself. So this is really an opportunity for you to not put yourself forward in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable and selfish, but a way that puts value and brings you up on the scale of things. Because here in the opportunity, the obstacle, I have Crystal saying, have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon that you can't see. And then I have the spider card. The spider for me is like my real estate sales card. I always think of it as when the fly gets into the web, it does not come out. So once the relationship is created, it is solid. Now I want to say this too, because when I look at this spread, I feel like there's a couple things that are going on here, because it feels very relationship oriented, but it also feels like it depends upon the age of my Cancer rising. So if you're a little bit older, it feels like it's more about family. If you're a little bit younger, it feels like it's a little bit more about your intimate bodies. Because I want to say that as you give for this transformation, and here we go, this is where this transformation is. It is in the idea that you're going through a time of assessing an energy and you're reconciling how this really works for you. Do you like it? Do you enjoy it? Is this energy contributing to your life, or is it pulling away from your life? Because as you assess it, it allows for this transformation and victory. Because what I believe, and I'm getting chills again all over, is whatever Cancer influences, whether it is rising, sun, or moon, being in a relationship, being in those connections are extremely important to you. And having them be healthy is what I really believe the Cancer rising is looking for right now. You're ready for it, because in the final position is the Grail Knight and is Aurora. Aurora says, as you're flying high, or she says, you're flying high right now, don't descend, because it will soon inspire others, even if they feel threatened by your way of thinking. And the Grail Knight is about seeking the sacred. It is a romance card as well, but it is seeking the sacred within myself. So right now, this very much for Cancer rising feels like this is, and here we go. We've got our Saturn retrograde, reviewing our relationships a little bit. How are they working for me? Am I benefiting as much as am I getting as much as I'm giving? And am I willing to stand in that vibration of I deserve to receive? It is extremely important. Vibration. We talk so much about the laws of attraction and wanting to attract things to us, but if we're not ready to receive them, then we were not going to get the outcome that we were hoping for, or the feeling from it that we were hoping for. So that's what I have for Cancer rising. Feels pretty good to me overall. And again, I want to say this feels a little bit about age too. So if you're like mature like me and you're heading into your 60s, it's going to be a different dynamic of claiming yourself in a relationship than it is when you're a little bit younger, because I feel like the younger is more geared towards looking at your intimate relationships and how you're the give and take of those. Okay, let's go on to Leo rising. Hi, Heidi. Welcome. Talcha88, welcome. I think you look like a new name. I'm not sure if I've seen you before. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, Small Wildflowers. I really need you today. You're working hard, I'll tell you. Maybe there's some Pluto stuff going on too, you guys. I can't remember. I think Pluto is conjunct Rahu or something. I don't know. Yeah, so Saturn's going to go retrograde starting tomorrow. So we're definitely been in the storm period, and it will be retrograde till September. So all those points that we passed in Capricorn and Pluto and K2 are all hanging out. So they're all kind of whoosh, going back and forth. They're hovering around each other again. All right, here we go. Leo Rising. Whoop. Well, I guess Xana made herself known as our first angel. She popped right out of the deck. Oh boy, thanks Heidi for clarifying that. Okay, so Jupiter, Saturn, the South Node, and Pluto will all be retrograde by Tuesday. That's awesome. So if you think about it, Jupiter will expand whatever Saturn is calling upon us. The South Node will ask us to be egoless about it. Pluto is going to ask us to surrender to the bubbling up. And, you know, and this is what I want to say. I really believe that the fears that I have looked at wholeheartedly and looked at willingly have turned into things that empowered me to feel stronger and to trust my connection to spirit even more. So I want, and Leo Rising, we're starting off with Xana, the card of the angel of protection. So while these, they're challenging, they really give us an opportunity to clear out the muck, to clean out the pipes, to have a fresh new start, but not throwing everything out. It's more like that fresh new start built on Saturn's solid foundation. Because Saturn, I don't like, I mean, I love Saturn. I don't know why I love Saturn. It's not that prevalent in my chart. Yes, it's in the 10th house in Capricorn, but there's just something about a goat that makes me happy. It makes me feel like I can just continue to traverse that mountain no matter what. So that's what I think that this transit has for us. So, all right, here we go. Our second angel is Akasha. Boy, she's making herself known today. I think we have a lot to learn or to remember about ourselves. And there's Aurora and there is Serena. Okay. All right. Joining Xana is the hawk. Joining Akasha is the lady of the lake. Joining Aurora is the snake or the serpent. And joining Serena is the king. Well, this is very interesting. Okay, so Leo Rising, very interesting. Xana is the card of protection. Okay, this is the angel of protection. And I've seen these cards for years, and I don't know if you can see it, but she's got a crystal in the middle of her heart. I don't know if you can see that. And it's sort of shooting out this light. And I really think that that's very poignant right now because I also have the hawk, and the hawk is about rising above my fears and seeing things from a bigger picture. And I want to say this because Xana is asking you to trust to feel safe. And I want to go straight to the fourth position for some reason because I have Serena, the angel of straight up money. She's in a very jazzy position. Her eyes are closed. She's God's receipt. God is in charge of how the money will show up, okay? And then I have the king. Now, the king can represent men, but it represents things pertaining to the law. It represents karma. It is kind of Saturn-y in its energy. Now, there's Serena, okay? This is very interesting to me. I want to say two things. Leo Rising, if you are in a lawsuit of some kind, then I feel like it's time to relax and to know that justice will be served because we have the protection card and to rise above my fears about it, okay? Because, and this feels very specific for such a large group of people, but I'm sure, you know, we have a whole legal system out there, so this may pertain to some of you. If you are not in any sort of legal situation, literally, then this is going to be about karma, and it's going to be about receiving that God is in charge of what you need right now. This is not about God taking anything away from you. This is about actually taking the worry away, because in my opportunity or my obstacle, I have the Akasha, the spiritual teacher, and then I have the Lady of the Lake, which is about self-respect, responsibility, courage, the courage to speak my truth. She holds Excalibur, the card, the sword of truth. And then I have Aurora, again, saying you're flying high right now, which may threatens others, but don't descend because they will soon be inspired by you. And then I have the snake, which is about shedding new skin, knowledge, and healing. So this is what I want to say for Leo Rising. Right now, there's something karmically going on for you. And that whatever that karmic thing is actually feels like it's supposed to work for you in your favor, not to throw you under the bus. This is why Serena is so beautiful. She's so relaxed that God is going to take care of her. She's trusting that. Congratulations, your favorite nurse. That's awesome. Congratulations. New souls coming into the world. Awesome, awesome. So this is really great for Leo rising overall. If you're in a situation where you are unsure, you are being protected by God and the angels, and your opportunity is to rise above your fears, to go deep inside and ask yourself, would I really contract for a situation? Would my soul contract for the situation of being, lonely for the rest of my life, or to always be broke? And I think if you go to that deeper place, then you'll have the courage to say, yeah, you know what? No, I wouldn't do that to myself. And then you'll start to implement that spiritual teacher within you that will help you to think differently and shed a skin, which will actually inspire others. Okay, so let's go on to our Virgo risings. I'm so excited to hear new babies are coming in the world. This morning, I was inspired to think about doing a talk on indigo children and crystal children. I don't know if y'all are familiar with those types of souls that are incarnating on the earth plane, but they have been. The indigo children have been incarnating throughout the 20th century. And now in the 21st century, we have more crystal children, which are more creative, a softer vibration, more Venusian in many ways. So I thought it'd be fun to chat about that. I was watching, I love MasterChef Junior with all the little kids. They're like 8 years old. They can't even see over their mystery box. And then they cook like crazy, right? They're all crystal children. I looked the other night, I'm like, look at that. They're just coming in droves now. Because by the time they become adults, they're going to demand this earth plane be the fun, creative place that it's meant to be. And the challenges that they'll experience will be the challenges of their dreams, just like we're supposed to. So the indigo children are cutting out the muck now. So anyway, gotta think about doing something like that. This will be fun. Okay, so we're going on to Virgo rising. Here we go. Haven't done Aquarius yet. Heading right through the around the zodiac. Okay, Virgo rising. Our first angel is Vanessa. Well, we haven't seen her today. Our second is Layla. Our third is Isabella. And the final is Serena again. All right, Leanne, yay. Okay. Virgo rising. Vanessa is joined by the Letting Go card. Layla is joined by the Earth Fairy. Isabella is joined by the Cat. And Serena is joined by the Fear card. Okay. All right. So my Virgo rising, my little practical, hey Martina, welcome. Are my little practical thinkers, my people I love to know where they're going, how they're getting their little Thomas guides. It's all about faith this week. It's all about faith. And then we have our Letting Go card. It's funny how some distance makes everything look small, and the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. That's what this card is to me. It is Elsa going up the mountain in Frozen. We just all were talking about all those planets going retrograde that are going to bubble up some fears. And Vanessa is saying, are you going to make your decisions based on faith, or are you going to make your decisions based on fear? And this is kind of a running theme for Virgo rising. And the Letting Go card, I don't know if you could notice it, but it's a 44. 44 for me is the number of the master builder. So this is really about rebuilding in some ways your foundation based on faith rather than fear. And I'm going to go straight down to the fourth position because we got the Fear card. And then we have Serena. These are very different energies. Serena is extremely relaxed. She can't even be bothered to open her eyes. She's so comfortable that Spirit has her back. And then there's the Fear card. The Fear card for me is about the unknown. It's about the projections that I'm making. It's about me not really being in the moment, but being out here somewhere thinking, well, if this doesn't happen and that doesn't happen, then this isn't going to happen. And then I'm going to be in really big trouble. Because I feel like it's time for my Virgo risings to build a new foundation. The Earth Fairy is about new foundations and about physical health. And if you worry long enough, you're going to make yourself sick. And I don't mean like, deathly sick, but that's where stress is a huge contributor to our health. We all know that. And then there's Layla asking you to spend time in nature so that God and the angels can give you signs and omens and signals that they have your back. For those of you that haven't watched me before, when I live near a lot of nature, and I will go out, and sometimes, I get concerned about resources. I'm kind of a spendy gal, and I don't save as much as I should. And I hate the word should, by the way, but I'll go out and then I'll see bunnies everywhere, and bunnies are prolific. So that's always feels like spirit's signal for me not to worry, but to go into a prolific state of being, because Isabella is saying, yes, the timing is right for this new venture. And this is healthy boundaries and independence. But you know what? Virgo rising is also a cat has 9 lives. Okay. So this is where I'm going with this. I feel like you have 9 lives, and it's time to start to check into that and to let fear become the thing that empowers you. The thing that says, it's funny how some distance makes everything look small, and the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. If you really think about it, Virgo rising, and you think about being in fear, it's usually not happening right now. It's usually something out there. So if you can connect to that, and maybe that's how stepping out into nature will help you do that, help you stay present, stay connected. And then I think you're going to feel a little bit of a shift. But this is all about faith over fear. That's what this is about. And I think this is going to go a little longer than just this week. So probably going to go through this whole retrograde. Okay. All right, we're on to Libra rising. Oh, that would be great. A walk around the lake would be beautiful. And you never know. Spirit may just, you never know what will fly by. You never know what will happen. You may see dragonflies. Those are really cool. I love them. Their story is totally cool. Dragonflies actually take 2 years to go from the nymph to the dragonfly, and they traverse the air element as well as the water element. They're very resilient in many ways. They're quite a spiritual little bug. Okay, here we go. Libra rising. Before I start, last year, there was a lot of renovation going on in this hotel across the street from my house, and it would be so loud sometimes I couldn't even think. So I would go down to the ocean, and I put my feet in the water, and I would just sit there. And it was amazingly healing. I have a little bit of stiff joints in my feet, and without even realizing it, my feet would start to feel back to normal. So every time you get a chance to go out into nature, to put your feet in dirt, grass, to connect with Mother Earth in some way, you're going to feel, I believe you're going to feel sort of a release in some ways, like as if Mother Earth is willing to take on whatever you're carrying for just a little while so that you can be free. So enjoy it. Keep your head up. All right. Welcome, Istanbul. Okay, here we go. Oh, I love seeing hawks. Check out what kind of hawk they are, too, because we've got a couple different kinds of hawks around here. Seahawks, otherwise known as ospreys, red tails, and then there's some owls. They are all very similar in some respects, but there's subtleties that will really be poignant when you pay attention. For instance, red tail, red is the base chakra. Base chakra is my security. It's where my fight or flight. So that's how I want you to peel it down the onions a little bit with those. And if you guys see something and you don't know what it means, throw a comment in, and I'd be happy to answer, what I know about that particular totem. Okay, here we go. It doesn't have to be dirt. Meggie Strong. If you don't like standing barefoot in the dirt, then you can put yourself in salt water or on grass, or even on a rock. Even standing just on a boulder would be helpful. Okay, here we go. Libra rising. I keep promising. Okay, our first angel is Serena. Our second is Mystique. Our third is Teresa. And our final is Archangel Uriel. Okay. Here we go. Joining Serena is the protection card. Joining Mystique is the risk card. Joining Teresa is the earth fairy. And joining Archangel Uriel is the goblin. Okay, Libra rising. All right, darlings, this is the thing. A little challenging, I'm not going to lie. I go straight to the final position. Archangel Uriel, talks about frustration, anger, annoyance. There's the goblin. It looks to me like my Libra risings may be being slightly challenged this week, and I think it has more to do with when I look at Serena right now. I'm not necessarily connecting to the money aspect of it as much as the things that I want. Just the things I want. I want what I want, Libra rising. And here is the protection card. The protection card is not about protecting you from physical harm. It's about sometimes when we think we want something, we may think we want it, but it may not be something that's actually really that good for us, or it may be a sense of pride why we want it. We want to prove our value in the situation is how I want to say it. And the opportunity, the obstacle, I have the angel Mystique that says to keep charging ahead, to expect miraculous solutions. This is not a card of fruition. This is a card of process. This is Gloria Estefan coming out of the dark and into the light. This Mystique is still working through something, but it's important to be tenacious, to continue moving forward, because miracles are alignment to source energy with my biggest belief about myself. And we've already talked about the risk card, what that means. It's risking a bigger picture of yourself, a picture that there's no physical evidence can even be achieved. It's all in the dream world, in the dream of your mind, but continue ahead, because Libra rising, you're kind of in a, Teresa is a card of worry. It's also a card of taking care of others more than we take care of ourselves. And then this is the card of physical healing, physical health, physical grounding, new foundations, and physical health. And I really think about, for my Libra rising, this is about that worry I want to put it this way. I don't feel like you're worrying to the point where you're going to be sick, but I feel like if you worry, you're worrying in a way that doesn't afford this dynamic. So the angel's advice is worry is a form of prayer that doesn't serve you. It puts your attention and your intention in the very experience you don't want to have. Mystique is asking you to have a bigger picture. The risk card is saying, don't hold back on that, because right now you have something to learn a little bit about where your focus is. And this is why I think the ego came up. I think it's more about, Libra's all about balance. Libra's all about justice, about wanting to be fair. But, and sometimes fair is not always exactly 50-50. So I feel like that's a little bit what's going on here. That Libra rising has got to, maybe in their willingness to be fair, they're shortchanging themselves in some way, being fairer to others than they are to themselves. Okay, so this week, I want to say this for Libra rising as a whole. If indeed Serena is talking about straight up money for you, then I believe that what that's saying is that the money that you're seeking is somehow money that's going to make you feel safer. It's not necessarily money that you may need to pay a bill or to do something, but just that extra padding. And it's kind of an opportunity for you to trust spirit, that it isn't just money that is going to give you that safety, but it's the dynamic and the vibration of what you believe about yourself and your ability to create that is going to give you the stronger foundation to create on. Okay, on we go to Scorpio rising. Well, that's interesting. What's going on with Tone from Chicago? You say, I'll do my best, but I'm not a professional at being nice. I'm rather sloppy, but honest. I also can't spell many words, and my grammar is for shite. Interesting. Well, that's a certain amount of self-awareness we can appreciate. Tone from Chicago. All right, we are on to Scorpio rising now. And if you have a Scorpio rising to Scorpio moon, this is doubly important for you. Yeah, there's going to be a double influence there. Okay. What is up for Scorpio? I missed something there. Okay, here we go. Our first angel is Mystique. Our second angel is Caressa. Our third is Omega. And the final is Yvonne. Awesome. Ooh, let's shuffle a little more. Okay. Joining Mystique is the Fear card. Joining Caressa is the dog. Joining Omega is the deer. And joining Yvonne is the bear. All right, Scorpio rising. Okay, again, Mystique coming up is always about process. For me, Mystique is not about fruition. She's coming from a darkened place into a lightened place. And she's learning, or she has to offer, is to teach us that the dark sometimes has more to teach us than the light does, because it empowers us. This is the Fear card. We've talked about, I talk a lot about fear being sort of a projection into the future rather than being something that is currently present. If you're in if you're in an airplane that's going down, yeah, there's fear. If you're in a car that's about to get in an accident, there's fear. But for me, in my personal life, I think most of my fears have been projections of what I assume other people will think, how my ideas will be received. Will I be able to make the money I need? All those kind of doubtful questions that you ask yourself that have nothing to do with sitting right here. So here, in the opportunity of the obstacle, I have Caressa saying you're at the end of a life cycle, that new happiness awaits you, and to call upon God and the angels to comfort you as you go through this process. And there's the dog card. The dog is about unconditional love, loyalty, and sincerity. This is not about love to somebody else. This is about love of Scorpio for Scorpio. That you're going through a process right now where you are learning to come out of the darkness of your fears, and that those fears are there to empower you, because Omega offers you victory. Your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have faith. Keep up the good work. And then there's the deer. And in this particular instance, this is about being gentle and diplomatic with myself as I go through this process, because Scorpio, you are unraveling some fears from your past. This is the card of the history, the storytelling card. And for me, Yvonne is always a card of vulnerability. I've said to you guys each week when Yvonne comes out, I never had children. I never got married. I'm 59 years old. I'll be 60 in October. And I'm vulnerable to an idea that there's a bigger picture of what I want, a bigger, the dreams that I have are bigger than the story I've come from. And that is exactly what is here for Scorpio. So I just kind of want to put it this way. If for some reason, I just want to say, in an intimate relationship, that you are, wanting to be married, wanting to start those markers of life, have your own family, and you haven't had any evidence of that, and all your friends are starting to get married and they're all starting to do that, you know what? This is where I want to say to Scorpio rising, give yourself a bigger picture of things. Maybe what God and the angels have planned for you is a bigger connection that you would only know if you had gone through this little bit of a challenging dynamic of having to override your fears and to continue on, whether or not those fears were not chomping at your heels. Okay. All right. Because remember, you guys, the ultimate thing is this. It's a be, do, have. No matter what your rising sign is, no matter what your chart is, the keys to the universe is my being energy. What do I believe about myself? What is my disposition? What is my attitude as I begin to endeavor that thing? Because that's why I call the risk card Donald Trump, because his being energy, his belief in himself was insane. I mean, insane. I don't know how else to put it. It was so powerful that it moved mountains. Moved to the presidency. Small wildflowers, if there's languages that we can't read or understand, will you remove them, please? Because I don't know what the comments are, and they make me nervous that they're not nice or something weird vibrationally. Thank you. Okay, let's go on to Sagittarius. Everything about me is vibration, guys. I don't even think I process on any other level anymore. It's all about how I feel and how it's vibrating towards me. Okay. Here we go. Girl from Mars. I'm a Mars girl too. All right, here we go. Sagittarius Rising. Okay. Card. Our first angel is Patience. This is for Sagittarius Rising. Our second is Azure. Our third is Shanti. And the final is Sonia. I don't know if I mentioned to you guys, but when I was doing the, when I had the special for the Mars, Pluto, Saturn, Pluto, Saturn, K2, almost every single person who did a reading had somebody come in from the other side. And that was really interesting to me because it was a growth thing for me. I get a little sketchy about mediumship. There's a lot of people doing that stuff, but it's very Plutonian that would happen. And it was interesting because I learned to surrender to it, because I literally was calling forth any energies that would best serve my client. And I didn't put a limit on whether it was a dead loved one or an angel or a master or whatever the energy was. So I think it'll be interesting to see as we go through this Pluto retrograde if we don't find the veil a little thinner between this side and that. Okay, we're on to Sagittarius, and joining the Patience card is the Partnership card. Joining Azure is the Butterfly. Joining Shanti is the Raven. And joining Sonia is the Communications card. Wow. Okay, this is wow, wow, wow for me. So the Patience card is always about learning. It's about assimilating. It's about assessing my energy and how that energy is manifesting. And I'm saying I'm going to do it. Sagittarius and Partnerships. Okay, I'm going intimate partnerships. That's what it's hitting me as. If you want a partnership, it's really, this Patience card is really about assessing. If you were to look into your history of the relationships you've had that didn't work out, I would venture that most of you would not go back to those relationships. You would want to take the good from those relationships and then capitalize onto something new. So this is where I'm going with this, okay? Because I feel like, okay, Sagittarius Rising, if you're looking for a relationship, and right here I'm going to say it, I feel like it has something to do with, I could sort of go with some of you maybe in an older demographic looking for partnerships in business, but I'm really feeling more of an ultimate, intimate kind of thing here, because this is about going to spirit and about this represents my deceased loved one, and this is the Communication card. I got a little distracted by the chat there because I'm gonna kind of have to do that for myself. The Patience card is not about sitting on an egg. It's about assimilating my energy. And the Partnership card feels like it's about wanting to be in a partnership, or if you're already in a partnership, wanting that partnership to be maybe at a higher level of connection or intimacy, because I have Azure, and she's saying your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have faith and don't try to force it. And then I have the Butterfly card. And again, the butterfly wasn't the butterfly, it was the caterpillar that then transformed into the butterfly. So there was a crisis for that caterpillar, thinking it was dying before that beautiful transformation could be had. Because in the angel's advice is Shanti and the Raven. Shanti is the angel of peace. But before peace can come in, whatever is disrupting that peace must be addressed. And then there's the timing. This is about synchronistic events. It's about magic, the magic of alignment. And then I go back to the Communications card, and this feels not like a deceased loved one per se, although it could be for many of you, but also connecting with your guides, with your team, even if you're unsure of what they are, and connecting partnership with them so that they can help facilitate the partnerships that you want to experience here on the planet, here in this world. I mentioned a few minutes ago about indigo children and crystal children and wanting to do a little chat about that. I believe that these dynamics are looking for these energetic soul dynamics, is I guess how I want to put it, are really looking to use this earth plane as a higher vibration, not just survival and getting through it and doing what we need to do to live, but to choose. And so to me, as I move forward for my Sagittarius rising, I feel like this is about you learning that you get to choose what you want to experience. And that's what this part of this partnership is as well. You get to choose that you want some kind of relationship that isn't just about, will he be able to take care of me, or will we be financially secure, as much as when we come together, the vibration that we create together gives an inner knowing that we can create whatever we want. I hope that made sense, because it's kind of feels like a cross between being a little bit out there in the ethernet and pulling it into the 3D world. So I hope this made sense for you, because it is in your communication with spirit in telling, okay, let's just go back for 1 second. Let's say it is an intimate relationship that Sagittarius rising wants to experience now. So you could be in a relationship, but it just doesn't feel connected enough. Or you're not in a relationship and you want to be in a strong connected relationship. That's where you go to spirit and you communicate the characteristics of that relationship. Characteristics are, he took my car and he came back and it was gassed up. I feel loved. Or I got my hair cut and he noticed, oh, your hair looks nice. Just that connection, those little subtle things. It doesn't have to be grand gestures. Okay, on to Capricorn. Because I think that's for Sagittarius rising. I think it's about giving belief to that. It's about starting to connect to spirit and giving belief to that, and then allowing them to start to show you evidence that can come into play. So even if you're in an existing relationship, it can create a more loving dynamic within that existing relationship. Okay. We go on to my goats, my Capricorn goats. Capricorn rising. Oh, I like to start with the angels first. Wait, it's been action-packed in the chat today, hasn't it, small wildflowers? You've been working hard today. Okay, let's see what's up for our goats. We have Bridget, we have Daniel, we have Maya, and we have Chantal. Well. There are two angels representing intimate relationships here. The only two in the deck. All right, here we go. Who is joining Bridget? Okay, so again, we talked about all these retrograde planets that are going to be going, and these are slow-moving planets. They're not fast-moving planets. These retrogrades are going to be hanging around for a little while. And I really think that's what Bridget's talking about, because Bridget represents looking deeper into a situation. Okay, but joining Bridget, we have the Risk card. Okay. Joining Daniel, the angel of marriage, we have the Horse. Joining Maya, we have the Forgiveness card. And joining Chantal, we have the Hawk. Okay. So, all right, so here we go. We've talked about it all morning. We've talked about it a couple times because the Risk cards come up a lot. It's a bigger version of myself. It's a deeper, bigger, grander, pie in the sky version of myself, maybe. And there's Bridget. Bridget's talking about looking deeper into a situation. I want to say for my Capricorn rising, this feels very much like it has to do with intimate relationships. Chantal is the angel of romance. She talks about a new romance coming in or the resurgence of an existing romance. And then I have the Hawk. The Hawk is about rising above my fears. It's also about signs and omens and paying attention. I feel like for my Capricorn rising, this is really about risking a bigger picture of your own and your intimate relationships. And when I say intimate, I'm not just talking about love relationships. I'm talking about intimate friend relationships as well. People that you call, your ride or die guys, looking at those relationships and if they're going through a bit of challenge, or if your partner or your friends are acting a little strange or being odd in some way, I feel like it's about risking a bigger picture. Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with you personally. Maybe it has something to do with something on the other side. Because Daniel's the angel of marriage, and we'll talk about bringing in a partner. But Daniel also talks about my history of how I view partnerships, how I view my intimate experiences, and am I coming into this new experience, or being with the same person for a long time, viewing them without giving them an opportunity to think that they can evolve. I know we get into habits with people and habits of communicating, and it's hard to imagine people shifting. But we have to that's where we have to turn things over to spirit. The horse is an extremely intuitive card. It doesn't follow fear. And even, I don't know if you guys can tell, but the feet on it have a little purple hue, which always kind of resonated to my third eye for some reason to me, and a high vibrational color, and being able to stand on that. Because in the angel's advice, we have Maya, the card of schooling and education, and we have the card of forgiveness. Now, forgiveness is not forgiveness in the sense of traditionally for me. It's reconciliation. It's where I understand the challenging situations I've been through, and they empower me versus irritate me. Because when I'm forgiving someone for the same thing over and over again, let's say you have a friend and they're always late. I am punctual Patty, okay? If you say I'll be ready at 11, I'm going to be here at 11, 99% of the time. And then there's those people who do the opposite. If you've gotten into a habit with a person and you love them, but they irritate you, it's time to risk a bigger version of what they're capable of bringing to the table. And then taking your version of expectation off of them, but putting it then on yourself to show up as the person you want to receive in that relationship. Because I do believe that for my Capricorn rising, that there is the opportunity to have closer, more intimate, more connected, more loving relationships. But it's also about you being willing to show up in that respect as well. So let's just say, for a final example, that you have a chatty wife, okay? And you're a Capricorn man. And you know what she's going to say. You've heard the same story from her a million times. Just giving her a break and listening to it like it's the first time you've ever heard it, who knows what kind of shift that could have. Just because in that moment she may finally feel heard. And flip the script. If it's your husband and he tells that same dumb story from high school in his glory days, and you're like, oh God, there he goes again. Just giving him that one moment of your undivided attention and being excited about the story he's telling, that can shift an energy. So I just want to put that on the table. Okay, let's go on to Aquarius. Feels really good to me, actually. Let me turn this off. Things are dinging all over the place over here. Okay. Resurgence of romance. I think there's a lot of that coming up on the table, where people have been in long-term relationships will start to see the benefit and wisdom of that relationship and the road you traverse together. Okay, Aquarius rising, here we go. And always, you guys, I'm rising, moon, sun. I would always check all three, just because they represent three different facets of how you process. All right, Aquarius rising. All right, so Merlina is our first angel. The second is Shanti. The third is Indriel. And the final is Sonia. Oh, Sasha, lovely, lovely, wonderful wife. Okay, joining Merlina is the spider. Joining the Shanti is the truth card. Joining Indriel is the joy card. And then joining Sonia is the horse. Very interesting. Okay. So Aquarius, Merlina is a card of confusion and indecision, saying you need to do more research. You need to check things out a little bit deeper. And then here's the spider, the creative projects card. Very interesting to me, because when I look at this, it feels very much like these are two counterintuitive energies for me, because the creative projects, I always think of that. I say it all the time. The spiders, the fly that went in the spider's web doesn't come out. You know, when I look at this, I feel like there's a little part of Aquarius that may be projecting how their ideas will be received is the way I want to put it. And in that, there's confusion. Is the idea good enough? Am I good enough? It's an interesting. I go there because of Sonia and the horse. Sonia is a connection to the other side, my master guides, my angels, my deceased loved ones, and then. Again, the horse is an intuitive card. It's asking for help and delegating authority. So for me, this would be Aquarius Rising going to spirit and with their concerns. This isn't the type of research you can do by going to a library or going on the internet. This is something that you're going to have to connect with spirit. And this is the deeper version of what it is that you want to create. It is not manifested. It's something else. Because in the opportunity obstacle, I have the truth card, and then I have Shanti. And this really feels like it's about your deeper truth, and going to your deeper truth brings a sense of peace, because there's something that my Aquarius Rising, here's the light worker card and the joy card. And for me, this is really feels like there's something deep inside, a yearning of some kind for an experience of something. And it's something that you haven't, something I feel like you want to birth for yourself. First of all, let me put it that way. And let me say this, lots of times when I talk about experiencing things, we tend to think these have to be big, huge things, going up Mount Everest, driving cross country, something. It could be things that appear small, giving yourself permission to learn how to bake a souffle or do something. It could be something very, joy-based that's just for your own fun and for your own enjoyment. Because I don't think I feel like there's something about this that's, how do I want to put it? It almost feels like I'm putting too much weight on it for some reason. That's how I'd like to put it. Because I don't want to say it's too big. It just feels like I'm putting too much weight on my confusion or my indecision in some ways. And I should just allow myself to play a little bit more. And in doing so, spirit will then be able to, the horse in this particular case is where you're delegating to spirit to give you experiences or signs or omens to show you, either walk you out of the confusion or what direction to go. And when you talk to spirit, it's nice to say please, because we learn manners and stuff on this earth, but they really enjoy thank you. Please is sort of a compromising energy for the other side. Thank you is this faith that says, oh yeah, they know that we'll figure it out. So you give them the bones of what it is you want to experience, your deeper truth, what makes you feel peace. And then you go into the vibration of joyous expectation and reception. Because this is really Aquarius Rising. It's not your turn. It's their turn. It's spirit's turn to start to move stuff around for you. And yours is just to remind them of what makes you happy, what makes you feel joyous. And this feels very individual. I'm not going with relationships in this. I'm not going outside. I'm going for something I want to create or experience for myself as the Aquarius Rising. Okay, let's go on to Pisces, our final sign. Okay, so again, before I go on to Pisces, I want to say, you guys were playing the weekly game. Feel free to put your number in 1 to 500 to win a free half-hour reading with me. I will announce hopefully the winner next week. And then you have a week to book your appointment. You don't have to have it within that week, but you have to book it within that week, because I can't keep track of this every week. It's too much for me. I can't do it. All right, Pisces Rising, here we go. My little lucky, my boy, is a Pisces Rising and a Pisces Moon. And man, he is so intuitive, I tell you. Okay, here we go. All right, our first angel is Bridget. Our second is Seraphina. The third is Vanessa. And the final is Bethany. Does anyone remember, is Venus still hanging out in Pisces? Hasn't Venus been in Pisces? I believe it has been. Oh, it's in Aries now. Okay, so it's shifted. Okay. Oh, Violet Lotus, you did. You missed pretty much all of it. I'm on Pisces right now. I'm finishing. This is the last one for today. Pisces Rising. Okay, joining Bridget is the Swan. Joining Serafina is the Queen. Joining Vanessa is Merlin. And joining Bethany is the Spider. All right, this is pretty terrific. All right, so for my Pisces rising, I want to offer you this idea. The Swan is a card of transformation. Transformation in my intuitive gifts, in going from the ugly duckling to the swan. And I feel like Bridget is asking my Pisces rising to actually look a little deeper into their own transformation and maybe pat yourself on the back just a little bit, okay? Because you've been working hard to maintain a vibration that will facilitate what it is you want to experience. And I want to applaud you on Spirit's behalf, okay? Because here I have the Queen and I have Serafina saying a happy change is coming to the family. Now, I want to say this for my Pisces because this is a card of fertility. And for my females that are of childbearing years, if indeed you would like to start that process in your life, Spirit is very much supporting that idea and you believing that, okay? We have there's a lot of issues around fertility, it appears. I didn't have kids, so obviously I don't have any issues. but these days, I hear more often than not about people going to the doctor to assist them in helping that dynamic come forward. And I feel like in my opportunity, my obstacles, Merlin, the Grand Wizard, alchemy, balance, and justice. And here's Vanessa saying, have faith. Or you're going to base your decisions on faith or on fear. So here, what I want to say is that in the angel's advice, if indeed you are of childbearing years and you want to have a child, it's about a bigger picture of what you want. And because having faith that your body can withhold a child, that you can create a child. And then I have Bethany and the Spider. Bethany's about the bigger picture of self-care. And the Spider, I've said this a couple times today, the fly gets into the web, it doesn't go out. So I want to offer this. This is not, the Queen and Serafina are not about children in, this is my opportunity and or my obstacle. For those that are not in childbearing years, this is going to have a different vibration. It's going to be about owning who and what I am as my vibration. And if you're a man, it's not about men and women. It's about fertility and birthing your ideas and being vulnerable to or allowing for that shift, that as you birth those ideas, you'll start to see a happier change in your family. And the family, I'll tell you this, there's a crowd of people in my head, even if I'm sitting alone. So this feels more like a collection of dynamics where Pisces starts to coagulate. These things start to come together to make more sense and to be more rooted in the 3D world. I want to say that. And I will say this for my Pisces rising. This is a process of self-care for you. It's a process of giving yourself permission to say that you deserve things, that you are ready to receive, and to allow the sensitive part of your nature to open up to that faith. And then thanking God and the angels for giving you the signs and the omens to anchor that faith into the 3D world and into your heart. Okay, that's it for the readings today. I'm sorry. I want to say, Debbie Ruth, I'm so sorry about hearing about the loss of your granddaughter. We will say prayers for her soul's transition. And if there's anything we can do to help that, sometimes when someone we love crosses over early and unexpectedly, there's a gift that we couldn't see with their physical passing, and that is their ability to come through from Spirit and their ability to give us signs and omens to anchor us into a bigger picture. My dad, when he passed away, I had a weird feeling about it because I wasn't that sad, to be honest with you. He wasn't very attentive. Oh, she's alive. She's not gone. Well, good. Thank God for that. We thought the way you said it sounded like she was dead. I'm sorry. But I want to say this. I'm going to continue on because when my dad passed, I actually felt like the relationship with him got better. I felt like he saw me from a perspective that his earthbound place wouldn't allow for. And I felt like he was around more. I felt like I don't know, I would be sitting doing a session or a reading with a client and I'd smell cigarette smoke. He loved to smoke. Oh my God, he loved to smoke. And I'd ask them, do you smell smoke? They'd say, no, I don't smell it. And I see yellow butterflies. They go by really fast. They sort of shoot by. My dad passed away in a yellow shirt. So I always picture that. I'm going, love you, gotta go. Love you, gotta go. So even though I'm glad to hear that Debbie Ruth isn't experiencing a physical loss, just a temporary displacement. If for those of you that have lost loved ones on the other side, as you talk to them, ask them to give you signs and omens that they're still around, because you could walk through your home and smell their perfume or cologne. You may see their favorite beer commercial, over and over again. All these little silly things will be signs. They seem silly because they're not burning bushes and they're not, but when you add them up, they're huge and they're so comforting to experience. Okay, everybody. So by the time next week rolls around, we'll be in retrograde heaven. We'll have lots of things going on, and we'll see how we're going to swim through them. Because remember, for every challenge, there's an opportunity, and for every opportunity, there is a challenge. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, Reiki master, intuitive guide, and empowerment coach. And if you'd like to learn more about me or book a session with me, you can go to Lotta's website, www.astrolotta.com. I'm in the readers menu. And have a wonderful week, everybody. I'll see you next Sunday. Love to you all. And thank you, Small Wildflowers. If you could actually, Small Wildflowers, will you send me a private message via Lotta's site? I'd like to talk to you about one little thing. Okay, everybody. Amber, everybody, Debbie Ruth, Susie, Orphan, and Stephen, if you're in the when you watch back, we're saying hi to you. We missed you today. Lots of love to everybody. Have a great week.